The Galactic Council's ultimatum arrived without ceremony, a single shimmering transmission that cut through every human network at the same moment. Its form was alien perfection, a crystalline hologram projecting high arbiter Kelvith, eyes glinting like polished obsidian, voice smooth and resonant. "Humans of Sol System," he intoned. "Cease your weapon research beyond sanction levels. Surrender all experimental platforms to Council oversight. Compliance is mandatory. Refusal will be treated as a declaration of war." The message ended abruptly. Silence followed, as if the galaxy itself were holding its breath. On Earth, in the heart of the United Nations Space Command headquarters, Commander Elara Voss stared at the fading projection, her jaw tight. "Mandatory compliance," she muttered, a faint smirk tugging at her lips. "They really don't know us at all." Her executive officer, Lieutenant Ryo Tanaka, leaned over her console. "You're saying we ignore it?" he asked cautiously. "That's insane?" Voss finished for him, her eyes narrowing. "Yes. Absolutely insane. But that's exactly what humans do best." The briefing room buzzed as her crew processed the transmission. Screens displayed Council warships forming near the outer colonies, their formations cold and precise, yet predictable. Every species in the Council had faced threats before, but none had encountered humanity's flexibility. "Council wants us to surrender our research," said Lieutenant Zarachin, Weapons Systems Officer, her tone sharp. "The amount of firepower they expect us to hand over, it's more than half our arsenal." "And?" Voss asked, voice steady, though the tension in the room was palpable. "Do we hand it over and vanish quietly, or do we show them that humans can play by their rules, or break them when necessary?" Ryo hesitated. "You really think they'll back down if we refuse?" Voss leaned back, gaze fixed on the projection remnants flickering on the table. "No. They'll come for us. But that's their mistake. They always underestimate us." It was a gamble. Every officer in that room knew the risk. The Galactic Council commanded fleets larger than Earth's combined defenses, fleets with firepower capable of turning planets to dust. Yet Voss's mind had already charted an alternative, one that made her pulse quicken. "The Stellar Forge," she said quietly, almost to herself. "It's real. And if we can reach it, we won't be negotiating, we'll be deciding the terms." Zara froze. "You don't mean?" "I do," Voss said. Her voice hardened. "The Forge is humanity's only way to show the galaxy that we are not to be contained." A low murmur ran through the room. Maps of uncharted sectors blinked on their displays, highlighting the coordinates that had been encoded in long-forgotten archives, hidden from alien eyes. The asteroid cluster where the Forge was rumored to exist lay at the edge of a nebula notorious for gravitational distortions and deadly radiation pockets. No Council fleet had dared venture there in centuries. Voss stood, walking to the main holomap. "We go in quietly, avoid detection as long as possible. If the Council follows, they'll run into hazards they can't predict. We use human ingenuity, improvisation, daring maneuvers, and a willingness to risk what they won't." "Commander," Ryo said, tension in his voice, "it's a suicide run. Even with the Resolute's upgrades, we're not dead yet," Voss interrupted sharply, a hint of steel in her eyes. "Humans don't get famous for following rules. We get famous for doing what others say is impossible and surviving." The room fell silent for a moment. The weight of command hung in the air, but each officer understood the choice before them: surrender and disappear, or risk everything for the survival and respect of humanity. "Prepare the Resolute for departure," Voss ordered. "Divert power to shields, engines, and experimental cloaking. We leave in 90 standard minutes. Notify Earth Command, this is not a negotiation. Humanity answers on its own terms." Lieutenant Chen's fingers flew over the console, initiating pre-flight checks. "Engines calibrating, shields at optimal levels, weapons offline for stealth mode," she reported, voice tight with excitement. Ryo shook his head, half amused, half anxious. "I still can't believe we're doing this. The Council will see it as open war." "Good," Voss said. Let them think that. Let them underestimate us. The hours passed in a tense blur. Crew members moved like clockwork, their training and loyalty absolute. They prepped emergency protocols, tested stealth drives, and ran simulations through the treacherous nebula ahead. Every moment heightened the sense of stakes that could not be overstated. Failure meant annihilation, success meant not just survival but dominance in a galaxy that had never taken humans seriously. As the countdown to departure ticked down, Voss stood on the bridge, staring at the stars streaking past through the viewport. Each pinprick of light was a potential threat, a witness, or a challenge. She thought of Earth, of the billions of lives depending on the courage of a few. She thought of her crew, brilliant and brave, trusting her to lead them into the unknown. Rio approached quietly. "Commander, are we ready?" Voss turned, her expression calm, almost serene. "We were never unready. The galaxy just didn't know it yet." At exactly 0 hour, the UNSS Resolute activated its stealth drives and slipped from Earth orbit, a shadow among stars. The Council's fleet scrambled in the outer systems, too slow to catch the human flagship. For a moment, the galaxy breathed, unaware that humanity had made its choice. In the quiet of hyperspace, the crew gathered around Voss. She addressed them, voice firm, filled with conviction that only humans could muster. "We are going where no one expects. We are taking power they thought they controlled. And we are proving one simple truth: humans survive. Humans adapt. And humans fight, when the survival of our species demands it." A ripple of murmurs ran through the crew. Some nodded. Others clenched their fists in silent agreement. For the first time in generations, humans were not merely participants in galactic politics, they were about to reshape it. Outside, the stars blurred into streaks of white as the Resolute dove deeper into the uncharted nebula, the stellar forge waiting somewhere in the shadows. The Council had delivered an ultimatum. Humanity had answered, not with words, but with resolve. And somewhere deep in the void, the galaxy began to realize that underestimating humans had been its first and most dangerous mistake. The nebula loomed ahead like a storm frozen in space, swirling clouds of ionized gas and streaks of pulsating light. The UNSS Resolute cut through the darkness, sensors straining against interference, engines humming with a tension that seemed almost alive. Every officer aboard knew the danger: one miscalculation in the gravitational eddies, and the ship could be ripped apart before the Council even found them. "Navigation," Voss said, scanning the main display. "Status?" Lieutenant Tanaka's hands danced across his console. "Engines stable. Nebula turbulence at 70%, but shields compensating. Approach vectors to the forge are viable, if we take the inner current." "Inner current," Voss repeated, lips curling in a half-smile. "Risky, but that's humans for you. Always the high-stakes route." "High stakes, high reward," Zarachin added. "Sensors are picking up something." Metallic readings embedded in the asteroid cluster ahead. Could be the forge's signature. Voss leaned closer. "Finally. After all this secrecy and whispers, the forge is real." She paused, voice lowering. "We need to be careful. If the Council has any hint of it, they'll be on us in minutes." Minutes, it seemed, were generous. The Resolute's stealth drives flickered in response to faint pulses in the void. Council vessels materialized from hyperspace like predators sensing blood. Their lead cruiser, massive and angular, scanned for any anomaly. "Detection risk rising," Tanaka warned. "They're close. Too close." Voss' gaze sharpened. "We've trained for this. Initiate evasive maneuvers, 5 vectors, randomized. Keep sensors tight and shields ready." The ship shuddered as it darted between massive nebula tendrils, gravitational currents pulling at its hull. Outside the viewport, the Council's cruisers loomed, lasers sweeping the void for any hint of the human flagship. Voss' crew worked with an uncanny synchronicity born of countless drills. "Commander," Chen said, "if we can't outrun them, we'll have to engage. Forge activation sequence, ready, but not armed." Voss nodded. "Good. let's see if we can survive long enough to show them what humans can do. The Resolute weaved through jagged asteroids and streams of energy, the nebula's light refracting across its hull in kaleidoscopic flashes. The first Council cruiser fired, energy beams slicing through space with surgical precision. Shields flared under the impact, panels sparking along the hull. Countermeasures deployed, Chen reported. Impact absorption at 95%. Good. Maintain course, Voss commanded. We're almost within range of the forge. Don't give them an opening. Minutes stretched like hours as the Resolute approached a dense asteroid cluster. Ancient markings, invisible from a distance, became detectable as they neared. Metallic structures jutted from the rocks, geometric and impossibly precise. This was no ordinary formation, it was the stellar forge. Tanaka whistled softly. It's massive. And it's awake. Sensors picking up dormant energy fields, but something's pulsing, like it's aware we're here. Voss' eyes gleamed. That's what I was hoping for. She gestured to Chen. Begin stabilization protocol. Feed the forge interface data, but don't activate beyond preliminary scans. I want a full layout before we commit. The crew worked with meticulous precision, linking human tech with the alien architecture. The forge hummed faintly, a resonance that felt almost alive, responding to their calculations and adjustments. But the comm shattered when the Council fleet fired again, this time in coordinated volleys designed to block the forge and destroy anything within reach. Incoming! Chen shouted. 3 energy torpedoes, vectors locked, impact in 8 seconds. Voss leaned forward. Evasive maneuvers Delta 3. Shield augmentation to maximum. Ready weapons on my mark. The ship twisted in the void, engines screaming against the nebula's pull. Torpedoes detonated harmlessly against the reinforced shields, sending shockwaves through the Resolute. Sparks rained along the hull, but the crew held steady. Status? Voss demanded. All systems nominal, slight hull fatigue in port section, Chen reported. Nothing critical. Good. Now we show them why humans survive when others falter. Voss turned to the forge interface. Partial activation. Focus energy modulation on one cruiser. Target's signature identified, lead vessel. The forge responded immediately. Energy coursed through conduits embedded in the asteroid, flowing like liquid fire. A beam, pure and focused, tore from the forge, striking the Council cruiser. The massive ship exploded in a silent bloom of light, fragments scattering across the nebula. Direct hit, Tanaka whispered, awe in his voice. They weren't expecting that. Voss' lips curved into a grim smile. No. They never do. The remaining Council ships hesitated, recalculating their attack patterns. The humans, unpredictable and audacious, had just demonstrated a level of power they could neither anticipate nor ignore. Voss knew the Council would retaliate with everything they had, but for now, humanity had taken the initiative. Status report, she said, voice steady. All systems stable, Chen replied. Forge energy holding at optimal levels. No structural damage to our hull. Shields are holding, but Council reinforcements are on trajectory, multiple vectors. Voss nodded. Prepare for engagement. Weapons offline for stealth, but shields and evasive maneuvers on high alert. And alert every crew member, survival depends on adaptability. Be ready to improvise. The Council's dreadnought, massive beyond comprehension, emerged from hyperspace. Its hull shimmered with energy fields designed to neutralize human technology. Every officer in the bridge felt the weight of its presence, a reminder that even in victory, the galaxy remained a dangerous place. Tanaka's voice was tight. It's enormous. They'll destroy us before we can react. Voss' gaze hardened. Then we'll force them to react on our terms. Human ingenuity doesn't follow predictability charts. The Resolute darted between asteroids, exploiting gravitational eddies the Council didn't anticipate. Energy beams sliced the void, weaving around the ship, missing narrowly. The Forge hummed, ready to strike again, waiting for Voss' command. "Engage Forge if fired upon," she said. "Take the lead dreadnought first. Humanity doesn't retreat. We survive, and we fight smarter than anyone expects." As the human flagship prepared to face the Council's might, one truth crystallized for every officer aboard: the galaxy had never faced humans like this, and they were only beginning to understand what that meant. Outside, the nebula glowed with the destructive brilliance of technology older than most civilizations, a warning, a promise, and the first proof that humanity could defy the impossible. The war had only just begun. The void around the stellar forge blazed with energy, a deadly tapestry of light and motion. Council dreadnoughts and cruisers converged like predators closing on prey, their immense hulls reflecting nebula glows as energy beams crisscrossed the battlefield. The UNSS Resolute moved with a calculated rhythm, weaving between gravitational anomalies and asteroid debris, exploiting every human advantage. "Commander, reinforcements incoming from the outer sectors," Lieutenant Tanaka reported, voice tight. "They've deployed at least 8 cruisers and 2 dreadnought-class vessels." Voss's eyes narrowed, jaw tight. "Let them come. Every ship they send is one more we can manipulate with strategy and courage. Humans aren't predictable. That's our edge." Lieutenant Chen spoke next, her hands flying over the console. "Forge is at full capacity. Energy output is stable. We can target multiple ships simultaneously, but the strain on our systems will increase exponentially." Voss took a deep breath. "Then we strike precisely. No waste, no hesitation. Choose targets that will break formation first. Humans survive by creating opportunities where none exist." Outside the viewport, the nebula churned violently. Plasma storms illuminated jagged asteroids as Council ships fired relentlessly. Laser and energy beams collided mid-space, producing explosions that lit the void like distant stars. Amid the chaos, the Resolute slipped through, seemingly untouchable, a human spear guided by ingenuity and instinct. "Engaging first target," Chen announced. The stellar forge emitted a focused pulse, energy lancing out and striking a Council cruiser dead center. The vessel imploded silently, a mass of molten metal tumbling into the nebula. "Direct hit," Tanaka whispered. "Their formation is faltering." Voss's expression remained calm. "Good. Keep the pressure. Disrupt their vectors. Make them react, not dictate." The Council responded, unleashing volleys with lethal precision. But the humans had anticipated unpredictability. The Resolute performed a series of maneuvers that defied conventional tactics, slipping between asteroids and gravitational eddies, each move forcing enemy ships to overcompensate and miss. "Commander," Chen said, voice urgent. "Dreadnought approaching starboard. It's calibrating a beam, larger than anything we've faced." Voss's lips tightened. "We've faced worse odds. Prepare secondary forge pulses. Focus on shields and evasive countermeasures. Tanaka, vector us behind the cluster, make it think it has the advantage." The dreadnought's massive beam swept past the Resolute, tearing through asteroids but missing the ship by meters. Voss seized the moment. "Now! Fire!" The stellar forge unleashed a concentrated stream of energy, striking the dreadnought's hull. Armor melted, systems overloaded, and the massive ship shattered in a slow-motion explosion, debris scattering across the nebula like deadly fireworks. The bridge crew allowed themselves a moment to absorb the sight. Silence fell, heavy but brief. "Status?" Voss asked. "All clear. Forge energy stable. Hull integrity intact. Remaining Council ships are in disarray," Chen confirmed. Voss nodded, turning to the bridge. "This is the turning point. Every move counts. Keep hitting their formations, break their morale, and remember, humans don't kill indiscriminately. We strike strategically." Council communications crackled over encrypted channels. Kelvatha's voice, cold and commanding, resonated through the Resolute's speakers. "Humans. You overstep bounds of reason. Cease hostilities immediately. Surrender the forge or face annihilation. Voss straightened, eyes blazing. Kelvith, listen carefully. Humanity doesn't surrender. We don't negotiate under threats. We survive. We fight. And we will decide our destiny. Tanaka glanced at her. Commander, are we pushing too far? Voss shook her head. We're exactly where we need to be. Push limits, exploit their assumptions, and show the galaxy the truth. Humans are not to be underestimated. The battle raged, Council fleets faltering as the Stellar Forge decimated cruiser after cruiser. Humans moved unpredictably, exploiting the nebula's chaotic gravitational currents, using decoys, holographic projections, and rapid maneuvers. Each strike was precise, each retreat strategic. It was not just firepower, it was ingenuity in motion. Then, the last dreadnought emerged, massive and menacing. Its shield shimmered with energy designed to neutralize alien or human weapons alike. Voss leaned forward. This is it. One decisive strike, or the forge risks overloading. Everyone, focus. Human instinct meets calculated precision. Let's finish this. Chen initiated the sequence. Energy converging, ready in 3, 2, 1, fire. The Stellar Forge released a beam of incomprehensible energy, slicing through the dreadnought's shields and hull. Explosions rippled through its structure as molten metal and plasma scattered into the void. Silence followed, broken only by the hum of the Resolute's systems. Tanaka exhaled. They're gone. Voss's eyes swept the battlefield. The nebula now held scattered debris, remnants of what had been the Council's fleet. Humanity had survived, and in surviving, they had sent a message stronger than any words could convey. Kelvitha's voice came one last time, tinged with reluctant respect. Humans, you are formidable. The Council acknowledges your survival and ingenuity. You will not be destroyed, though your methods challenge every principle we uphold. Voss smiled faintly. Then the galaxy will learn something it never has before. Humans endure, humans adapt, and humans fight smarter than anyone expects. The crew allowed themselves a brief moment of victory, but Voss knew it was more than survival. This was recognition, not just from the Council, but from the galaxy itself. Humanity had carved its place among the stars, and the universe would never again treat them as minor players. Set course for Earth, Voss ordered, voice calm but triumphant. We return not as subjects, but as equals. And we bring proof that humans are never to be underestimated. The Resolute sailed through the nebula, stars stretching into streaks, the Stellar Forge humming behind them. Every officer felt the weight of what had been achieved. They had faced annihilation, defied overwhelming power, and emerged victorious. Voss stood on the bridge, gaze fixed on the endless void ahead. Remember this, crew. Today, we showed the galaxy what humans are capable of. Today, we changed everything. Outside, the wreckage of the Council fleet floated silently, a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and audacity. The Stellar Forge pulsed faintly, a reminder that the universe was vast, full of challenges yet to come. But humanity had proven itself. For the first time, the galaxy knew the truth. Humans were not merely participants, they were a force that could not be contained, a species whose spirit and resolve could bend even the most ordered of worlds to the reality of their audacity. And in that truth, the future of humanity shone brighter than any star. The Resolute drifted through the quiet void beyond the nebula, leaving behind the shattered remnants of the Council's fleet. Stars stretched into lines, distant worlds untouched and unaware of the devastation humanity had wrought. The bridge was quieter than usual, tension giving way to a heavy, contemplative calm. Voss stood at the viewport, arms crossed, eyes tracing the faint glimmer of asteroid debris that had once housed the Stellar Forge. We've survived, she murmured. But surviving isn't enough. We need to understand what we've unleashed. Chen glanced at her console, brow furrowed. The Forge's output, it's unlike anything recorded. It wasn't just destructive. It reshaped the environment around the asteroid, manipulating gravitational and energy fields in ways even advanced Council sensors didn't predict. Tanaka leaned back, voice cautious. Commander, are we sure we can control it if needed again? We barely scraped through using improvisation and intuition. One misstep next time. Voss shook her head. The next time, we won't improvise blindly. Humans survive because we adapt, but power this immense requires strategy, not luck. We'll study it, understand its mechanisms, and decide how, and when, to wield it. The bridge lights dimmed slightly as communications crackled through. Earth Command came online, voices tense but awed. Commander Voss, a senior officer began, reports are coming in. Humanity, no, the galaxy, is reacting. The Council has issued a formal statement acknowledging human ingenuity and the Forge's capabilities. They request immediate diplomatic engagement. Voss exhaled slowly. Engagement on our terms. We've earned that much. Humanity doesn't bow. We negotiate from strength, not fear. Ryo Tanaka rubbed his temple. Strength, we've barely contained the Forge. What if the Council insists we dismantle it? Or worse, they send another fleet before we can prepare? Then we'll be ready, Voss said firmly. We've shown them that humans aren't predictable, and that unpredictability is dangerous. That's leverage. The crew worked in silence for a while, calibrating systems, repairing minor hull damage, and scanning the Forge's residual energy. Even in quiet, the hum of the ship and the pulsing Forge reminded them that immense power still lingered nearby, waiting. Voss addressed the bridge, voice deliberate. Listen closely. The galaxy now sees humans as a serious force. That recognition comes with responsibility. We are capable of devastation, yes, but humans endure because we think, innovate, and care about our survival without unnecessary destruction. That's what separates us from the Council. That's why they'll never predict us. Chen nodded, eyes fixed on the interface. We've already cataloged preliminary data. Energy signatures, field dynamics, structural matrices. If we invest time, we could integrate the Forge safely into human systems, defensive measures, exploration, even energy production on a scale never imagined. Voss' gaze sharpened. Exactly. This is not just a weapon. It's a tool, a promise. Humanity now has options that the rest of the galaxy cannot even conceptualize. The communications console blinked again. A council envoy appeared, a holographic projection of Kelvith, his expression unusually neutral, almost hesitant. Commander Voss, he began, tone measured, your species has demonstrated remarkable resourcefulness. The Council recognizes your survival and contributions to interstellar dynamics. We seek dialogue to define parameters of coexistence. The stellar forge cannot remain unregulated indefinitely, but we acknowledge your right to existence and strategic influence. Voss studied him, expression unreadable. Kelvith, we are not here to destroy or dominate your civilizations. Humanity has always fought to survive, to innovate, to explore. The forge is ours to understand and wield responsibly. Any regulation must respect that. Anything less, and humans will act in their own defense. Kelvith paused, the alien projection shifting slightly. Your boldness is unprecedented. Very well. We will negotiate parameters. But heed this, continued unpredictability may force the Council to act decisively. Voss' eyes narrowed. Then the galaxy will remember, humans survive, and humans act when survival demands it. She cut the connection. Tanaka exhaled, half in relief, half in awe. That was tense. You didn't back down, and they respected it. Voss turned toward the crew, calm but commanding. Respect earned through courage and ingenuity is worth far more than fear or submission. Remember that. Humanity has been underestimated for centuries, and now we have proof why that was a mistake. As the Resolute set course for Earth, the crew began cataloging every fragment of forged debris, analyzing residual energy fluctuations, and integrating preliminary systems knowledge. The ship hummed with purpose, the quiet tension of responsibility settling in. Voss walked the bridge slowly, stopping at each station. This isn't just survival. It's a turning point. Humanity has the power to protect itself, to shape the future of interstellar diplomacy, and to ensure that we are never ignored. But we do it wisely, strategically, and without unnecessary bloodshed. That's what humans do best. Outside, the nebula glowed faintly, the stellar debris reflecting light across the void. It was a silent monument to human ingenuity, a reminder that audacity paired with intellect could change the course of the galaxy. "Commander," Chen said softly, "what now? The Council will expect something from us. Diplomacy, perhaps even oversight requests. Do we comply?" Voss' gaze remained on the nebula for a moment before she answered. "We listen, we negotiate, but we do not yield. Humanity will define its path. We have power, yes, but we also have restraint. The galaxy must learn that humans are clever, relentless, and principled. We survive because we think ahead, and we fight because it is necessary, not because we enjoy destruction." Tanaka smiled faintly. "You make it sound simple." Voss allowed herself a small smile. "It isn't simple. But it works. And it always will. Humans endure. Humans adapt. Humans win, because survival is not just instinct, it's strategy, ingenuity, and courage. Never forget that." The stars streaked past as the Resolute accelerated toward Earth. Every crew member understood that the galaxy had shifted irrevocably. Humanity had demonstrated something no Council fleet, no ancient protocol, no rigid hierarchy could ignore: audacity, creativity, and the willingness to act when others hesitate. In the quiet hum of the ship, with the stellar forge's pulses fading behind them, Voss allowed herself a moment of reflection. The cost had been high, the danger immense, but the victory was undeniable. Humanity had survived the impossible, and in doing so, carved a permanent place among the stars. The galaxy had been warned. Underestimating humans was no longer an option. And as the Resolute sailed toward Earth, the future of humanity shimmered brighter than any distant star.